Mina Mary's Journal, 19th August. Joy, joy, joy. Although not all joy. At last, news of Jonathan. The dear fellow has been ill. That is why he did not write. I am not afraid to think it or say it now that I know. Mr. Hawkins sent me on the letter and wrote himself oh so kindly. I am to leave in the morning and go over to Jonathan to help to nurse him if necessary and bring him home. Mr. Hawkins says this would not be a bad thing if we were married out there. I have cried over the good sister's letter till I can feel it wet against my bosom where it lies. It is of Jonathan, and must be next to my heart, for he is in my heart. My journey is all mapped out and my luggage ready. I am only taking one change of dress. Lucy will bring my trunk to London and keep it till I send for it may be that... I must write no more. I must keep it to say to Jonathan, my husband, the letter he has seen and touched must comfort me till we meet. It's time for Dracula Weekly. It's time for Dracula Weekly.
Host Jasmine. Incoming message from Wall Dweller Shami.
Hey, Jazz. Good news. Finally figured out the whole deal with the whole weird lucid dreams I've been having since the whole getting trapped in Dracula's castle bit. Bad news. Lucy's not the only one dreaming about the man with the red eyes. Not the one from Wickle Time. Not Judge Doom either. The other one. The OG one. Oh, tell you all the details later. Just start stocking up on garlic. We're gonna have to go into recipe overdrive. And Dracula, in case you're listening somewhere out there in the multiverse, you make me miss a third episode. I'm coming after you with holy water and cilantro. I cannot be the only one with the soap gene, you stupid goat sucker.
So, I believe the term I am looking for is fuck!
I think that Dracula doesn't suck goats. I think that's something else, though.
You guys are being weirdly cool with this.
Oh, I'm not cool, bestie. I got a lot of things to kick his ass for, okay?
I mean, when you've been around as long as... when you've been around a while, you get kind of used to weird shit like that happening.
I mean...
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
I'm not legally permitted to inform you how long I've been around. Let's just cut that.
What?
We're just going to cut that off right there. I'm not legally allowed to inform you.
I have questions, but sure, okay.
You probably
Okay,
shouldn't
sure.
ask them.
I'm not. For once, I'm not.
Okay, but no, anyway, Dracula, if you are listening out there in the multiverse, hello, my name is Jasmine Garcia. You're trying to eat our Shami. Prepare to die. Hi, listeners. I've just realized we were recording. Welcome to another edition of Dracula Weekly, I guess, and now we gotta try to rescue Shami along with Breaking the Time Loop. I'm your host, Jasmine Garcia, and joining me today are...
My name is Callie, and you know what? Even though you may have been to some really grim fucking hells, Dracula, I'm about to create the worst one for you.
See, that was an appropriate response, Callie.
And I'm Ellie, and I just have to say that life and death are mysterious states, and we know little of the resources of either. Or you know little of the resources of either.
Not suspicious at all. Anyway.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I am gonna have to try to get back to Shami later on. I guess we keep talking about this for now, and hopefully we'll get an answer.
We'll get her back.
Yeah.
I'm your number 2 now, okay?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But
I'm more of a 6th Ranger type than a second in command, personally.
Do you think if we say her name that would help?
I mean, I've been saying it numerous times.
Yeah, I get it. It might have worked for somebody. I don't know.
Anyway.
I'm trying.
And, speaking of watching someone you deeply care about suffer under Dracula's influence, Mina and Lucy.
It's a lot. Baby girls.
That feeling when you have to watch your... I mean, I still joke that it's a situationship, but, that your other part of your polycule disappear? I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, I've always said that this is just a straight up polycule. They just couldn't out and out say it because of the Victorian era. This is a case of good polycule versus evil polycule. Like I said in the second episode.
We gotta break up Dracula's polycule. It's not working out for anybody.
No, it's really not.
Good.
Especially not for Renfield, because I don't even think he's even really in it, but he thinks he is.
It's so sad.
Renfield is, I think we can officially say, as of this chapter, you know that like Tumblr meme with like two people who were reincarnated together throughout history. Then there's this third guy, no one knows what's going on with him. Renfield is the guy who no one knows what's going on. Like, well, Renfield's here. We don't know what his deal is, but he's here.
Oh god.
He's fucking weird.
He is fucking weird. I feel like the fact that he escapes the house to go try to reunite with Dracula, buck ass naked, I feel like that gets like dropped really quickly as part of a different sentence. I'm like, wait, what?
Considering Victorian sensibilities, yeah, but on the other hand, Seward is still a doctor.
Oh, but like that begs the question. Like, he escaped from the asylum. Is he buck ass naked this entire time?
He might be. He might be, honestly. And
honestly, I hope not.
What is great though is that can be played for both comedy and horror. It's great.
It's certainly some horror, yeah.
One of the best movie monsters of the last 25 years is straight up resembles a naked pale white dude.
That is true.
Although, Dracula, darling, you must get better hold on your thralls if that's how they're acting. I mean, what?
What?
But just Mina and Lucy going through it, man.
I do want to circle back quickly to a revelation I had regarding Seward and Renfield. It is kind of interesting how this whole chapter is about, Renfield's utter devotion to Dracula, and it's also interspersed with Seward still pining over Lucy. It's like, oh, that's a kind of disturbing parallel when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
I mean, you don't like either one of them, so it's not like anyone's dignity is being besmirched here, Callie.
No, but I'm just saying I don't like it. That's not a bad thing. Just saying I don't like it.
Fair. But yeah, I mean, Mina, thankfully, finally knows what happened to Jonathan and has basically reunited with him. And they have their wedding while he's bedridden, which is crazy, especially since she is clearly still so thrilled and in love with him. And it's like somebody tweeted about how you would think this was her dream fairy tale wedding with how excited she is.
Because near, far, wherever you are.
What?
I couldn't resist, bestie.
I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't want to. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not that much of a romantic, quotes notwithstanding, but I wouldn't want to have my wedding from like my deathbed. Like, come on, man, you gotta have some dignity left.
I mean,
it's not his. About it? He doesn't.
It's not his deathbed per se, at least.
He doesn't know that. Victorian times, you get a bad allergic reaction to shellfish, you're gonna eat shit a week later.
That is a good
point. I would have died at the age of 1. I would not be here.
No, neither would I.
I died at 6 months. Might not have lasted to a year, but you got a point. But still, it's sweet. It's wholesome. We love them.
And it is just one of many things that keeps on getting left out of adaptations because people focus more on Dracula. It's just like, okay, but like these two are actually really sweet together. And it makes it all the more horrific of everything that is happening to them. For example, that Lucy is going through it while Mina is having her dream wedding.
Mm-hmm.
It's so sad. Alexa, play Desposito. How many old memes can I reference in one episode?
I'm wondering the same thing.
We're gonna find out today.
Well, I feel like we should like acknowledge that in the 1800s, this is where the source of all the memes from the 1800s were. All the kids were talking about how it's easier to chase a swarm of bees than to do something else. I mean, I've read.
That was a thing?
What?
This is one of my favorite quotes from all of Dracula, the bit where he's chasing Renfield and he says like it's very similar to chase a swarm of bees than chasing a naked man. It's genuinely one of my favorite quotes.
I'm shocked that I managed to forget that one while I was reading it.
See if I can find it, the exact quote.
That's funny.
Chasing an errant swarm of bees is nothing to following a naked lunatic when the fit of escaping is upon him. That's just chef's kiss.
That is hilarious, actually.
That's a great line.
Seward,
also, like,
Yeah.
We were talking about Renfield as like a part of the polycule. Like, okay, we'll acknowledge that Dracula does not fuck Renfield, but also like they got some shit going on there. You know, I'm
You-
here to do your bidding, master. I am your slave, and you will reward me. Like,
Renfield definitely wants in on the polycule.
Renfield, he is literally just a guy. Hit him with your car.
no, unfortunately, I have to say I don't like Dracula. We never got. I mean, I've never liked Dracula, but he is not just some guy.
Unfortunately, that's kind of part of the problem.
Yeah, I know, bestie. Why do you think I've got the stakes and other weaponry of assortments? Do you think the machine gun will be helpful?
No,
Probably not.
but
But
you know,
it will make me feel better.
you can never really go wrong with a machine gun, frankly.
It belonged to him, so it's fine. Don't worry about it, Lily.
Aye.
I'm being
The
a
brain
problem.
rot continues, Ellie.
I'm being a problem, basically. Anyway, yeah, no. Basically, I'm just gonna fight this man. I'm going to do whatever it takes to take him down. For Shami, for Vale, for everybody. For Carol, I'm sure he's done something to her.
I'm sure. I mean, like, again, how dare you try to eat our beloved Lucy and our beloved Shami now?
Yeah, Lucy, Shami, all of them. There's Jack.
I feel like Mina doesn't get it. I feel like Mina doesn't get enough revenge for the fact, at least in the book, at least, it doesn't get enough revenge for the fact that Dracula tried to eat her two partners.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it did eat one of her partners.
Hmm.
It's been such a bad time.
It's
Wait.
not going to get better. I know that you've read the book. Callie, if you're the one who hasn't read this book before,
I'm the one who hasn't read the book.
yeah, it's
This
not
is
getting better.
This is my first time reading the book properly, but I know the gist.
Yeah, everyone knows. Good.
I only know one thing. I know two things, technically. I know that Dracula dies, and I know that Lucy dies.
Yeah.
And I know that Van Helsing shows up.
Callie gave up on predicting when Van Helsing would show up, to be honest.
I keep waiting.
It is extremely funny to me that, like, Van Helsing has become the name associated with Dracula, like, with opposing Dracula. You know, they had that initial attempt at a dark universe from, like, 2003 called Van Helsing. And, like, you read the book, and he's in, like, the last maybe third of it, if you're lucky.
That movie is very stupid, but I do kind of love it.
Apparently, I need to see it now, because I love stupid movies. I'm very fond of them.
I mentioned this in our last recording about another movie that would be eligible for this podcast, but not for this podcast. It reminds me a lot of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I don't know. I don't know what was going in the water at that point. They were like, you know what we need is steampunk Victorian action movies where the main character hunts monsters, but that was what people were into. They thought people were going to be into, apparently.
I mean,
okay.
I'm into the basic idea of that. And again, I do kind of enjoy Van Helsing for what it is. I hated League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but that was mainly because of what they did to Dorian.
I think there wasn't enough cocaine involved to make them work.
They also both had Mr. Hyde in them as a giant monster.
Yeah, it's just
kind of the third time.
It did, although I would argue in the Mummy 2017 he was. Yeah, he's not quite giant, at least, but they do kind of do a Hulk thing. They do kind of a Hulk thing, but not as much of a Hulk thing. But in fairness, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comics kind of did that first, at least. So I guess they're both just kind of copying that, which I guess makes sense, at least for one of them.
They're all cribbing from Alan Moore's notes. And honestly, Hyde is probably one of the worst parts of that comic. If I'm being real.
I mean, that's tricky, because on the one hand, I did kind of enjoy his interactions with Mina, but just about everything else was awful. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Russell Crowe seemed to have a gay old time playing the Hideout version of Hyde. Or Hulked-out version of Hyde.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that.
One of the three best parts, but that's not the point. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in October. I mean, what? You heard nothing, listeners. These are not the podcast your movie episodes you're looking for.
Wrong podcast. Sorry. Continue.
I was just gonna say, like, problem where, like, Hyde is an awful person, and also so is the Invisible Man in that comic. But at least, like, the Invisible Man is an entertaining character. I just did not like Hyde at all in that comic.
That's very fair. Yeah, I don't know
Well-
how to feel about what Hyde did to the Invisible Man in that one comic. That
You
was the
kinda had it
comic that
coming.
made me decide this series was not for me.
Oh, Alan
I
Moore.
don't want to know. I'm just going to live in my little dark universe world where Jack is a teddy bear.
Probably for the best.
I'm content there.
Hot take, I'm gonna make all the nerd boys mad at me. I don't like Alan Moore much.
Yeah, he seems a little edgy and not in the cool way, but in the bad way, if that makes sense.
I think he's an extremely talented writer who does occasionally let his instinct towards edginess run away with him. That doesn't really detract from his talent, but it does mean that a lot of his stuff is extremely hard to digest.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
Edgelord behavior is not cool anymore. We left that behind.
Or at least we're trying to.
If we keep saying it, maybe it'll happen.
George got to see a
Yeah.
bat.
We did get
Like
to see a
bats.
bat, yes.
I like bats.
Bat! I love bats. I want to build a bat house at my house for real, though. I do
That-
want to build a bat house because bat preservation is important.
It is important, and Dracula gives bats a bad name.
And fucking Dracula, he gets to transform into a bat, and he gets to transform into a bat, and I don't get to transform into anything.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
All right. Fun question for the ending, I guess. If you were a vampire, what would you mostly transform into?
Ooh. What would I transform into? I don't know.
Well, the question for me is that, like, what do I currently transform? I mean, I think I'd do a big cat.
Fair enough. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna be a wolf. I've always wanted to be a wolf.
Personality-wise, I don't know. Jazz, you know me better than I know myself. That's a
I mean,
problem.
no,
That's
but
not
like, what would you want to turn into?
what I want to turn into. This could sound really dumb, and you're going to be 0% surprised, but probably like a crow or a raven. Like, I
Fuck
wanna
yeah.
fly.
That's
It's
goth as shit.
It's a misnomer that vampires, like, most people think that because Dracula can transform into a bunch of different animals, that, like, all vampires can. That's actually not kind of a myth. Most
Right.
of most of them can only really transform into one animal that's kind of, like, determined by your personality.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Damon Salvatore could become a crow.
Right, really?
Yeah,
It's in the books. It's in the books, and it's hinted at the pilot, but they kind of drop it, which was a stupid decision.
You know, whenever a vampire media drops, like, either they have to be invited in, or can transform into animals, you know they're taking themselves too seriously. Like, you gotta have one
Yeah.
of those rules, because those are the fun rules.
Yeah, they are the fun rules. Thank you. I mean,
I
like-
think it was just too expensive. I think
Probably.
genuinely that's all it was. 'Cause it's
I
the
mean,
CW in
honestly-
2009.
I mean, I feel like they could have easily, like, you know, have a crow in one scene and then, you know, do some shadow work or have him walk through a door as himself instead of like doing the full CGI thing.
Fun fact, the pilot episode was filmed in Toronto, the rest of it was filmed in Covington, Georgia. So the cemetery that you see in every other episode is not the same one that you see in the pilot.
I love movie magic like that.
Yeah.
I took a tour.
But okay, if we're going personality wise,
Big cat for me.
yeah. I don't know what
Yeah.
my animal would be personality
You'd be a
wise.
dog, Jazz. You would be a dog, like a husky or, some sort of a sweet, loving animal. Like a loving...
Aww.
But I don't know what I would be. I genuinely don't. Like...
You know what? We'll give you a ferret.
Am I really a ferret? For real? I think I'd be like a possum, maybe, or a raccoon or something.
I was actually gonna say possum.
Ooh, you know what? Fair.
Am I really a trash goblin? Yes.
You do have that kind of chaotic energy, yes.
Trash
Like-
goblin.
One of my favorite T-shirts has a picture of a screaming possum on it and just says "always pissed."
And,
Listen.
can you imagine being stalked by a vampire that turns into a possum? Like, you're just taking out the trash and just jumps out at you.
Fun fact: possums cannot typically get rabies.
They are immune to rabies.
Not
And they eat
immune.
ticks.
They just don't normally get it because unless they're already sick.
I mean, that just makes it even better because if you did that in a movie, someone would be like, I mean, no, possums don't really get rabies. I'm fine. But nope, because it's a vampire possum.
Ha!
That'd be
Psych.
so funny.
I am a problem who likes to scream. I'm unique and I'm the only marsupial in America.
Yes. Congratulations. All right, but yeah, not a whole lot of ways to beat Dracula unless I don't know, would bat repellent work on him, but I don't want to hurt the bats that aren't fucking everything up.
Nah, we're not going to risk that. Bats are important to the environment. Go donate to your bat conservation fund, kids.
Also, like, I'm gonna let you know, like, a lot of that stuff, like bat repellent or like bear mace or whatever, is reliant on the target breathing it in, and without getting too far into the weeds, they don't really breathe.
Yeah,
So-
no, most vampires do not.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing in most folklore. And I'm sure even if they did breathe, Dracula would find a way out of it because he is so overpowered.
He's pretty OP.
Yeah, it's look, I've got the stakes, I've got the machine gun, I've got my Doc Martens, because I'm going to kick him in the chest.
Woohoo.
I've got some plans here. I'm double fisting the stakes. I've got 2 of them.
Yeah, you don't get to fuck with our local librarian and get away with it, Drac.
There's a lot of people that you fucked with. We have a problem with, Drac.
We're
You've
coming
caused
for your ass.
problems. You've
I
caused
am
problems.
Legally barred from elaborating on my personal vendetta against Dracula, but he knows what he did.
Okay.
Fair enough. Anyway, Callie, predictions.
Eventually Van Helsing's gonna show up. I don't know when, but eventually it'll happen.
You don't know when, you don't know how, but we need a vampire slayer right now.
Who doesn't blow shit up. I really need to specify the lack of terrorism part here. No terrorism. Number 2, Jonathan is going to start having nightmares about what happened in Transylvania.
That's true. We didn't really get into the fact that Jonathan does not know what was real or not because of the brain fever.
Yeah, so Jonathan's going to start having nightmares about what happened in Transylvania.
And the fact that Mina decided when he gave her the journal, because they decided there were not going to be secrets between them, it's just like, you can read it if you want, or you can put it away for now. Whatever, I trust you. And she just wraps it in a nice little box.
Van Helsing is going to destroy that box with a hammer.
That's how you know their relationship is really solid. That he's like, hey babe, I have this hallucination journal. You want to read it?
Right?
You can read it if you want.
And she's like, no, I'm good, babe. Let's wrap it up with some pretty paper.
Like, they trust and love each other so much, it's beautiful.
So my other prediction involving that subplot here is Van Helsing will destroy the box with a hammer or something, wrap it with a crowbar, I don't know, but it's gonna be dramatic and stupid because Van Helsings are just that way.
Smash it with the hammer!
In that vein, yes, and it's gonna be ridiculous. Because that's just how they are.
Fair enough.
I can't prove that theory, but it's an idea. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but it's a fun one for me.
Fair
It's
enough.
a dream more than a theory. It's a dream. Number 3 is going to be Lucy is going to eventually have to make her way to this hospital where Jonathan is because she is getting so sick from Dracula's bullshit.
I mean, keep in mind this hospital, I believe, is still in Bulgaria.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was... Okay, I didn't know he was in Bulgaria. Okay. I knew he was away, but I didn't know it was in Bulgaria for some reason.
Yeah, he did not make it far, but he did make it, and that's what counts.
Oh, so he's with Katerina. Got it. Cool. Okay. So now he's just at risk for a different vampire. Got it.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, I had to point it out, Bestie.
Nope, that's fair. We brought up a TVD enough in this.
Lucy's gonna have to go to see a doctor of some kind. It's not gonna be a fun time for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Renfield will continue to be fucking weird.
Is that even a prediction at this point?
I feel like that's saying that there's going to be a vampire that shows up. It's like, yeah, Renfield's going to be fucking weird.
Okay, fine.
He does.
Number 4, then, is that Lucy's mom will be dying sometime shortly. I'm calling it the next week or 2, probably.
Fair enough.
I'll give a timeline on that one.
I can out and out tell you that one of your predictions is in fact true. I can't say which one. I did read ahead, though, and one of them is, in fact, kind of true.
I won't read ahead. Number 5 is going to be Mina is probably going to have to do some badassery stuff. Like, I know she doesn't get to do a whole lot, but I feel like she's going to have, like, a moment of badass hero moment.
She is awesome like that.
And those are my predictions.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Let's go kick some Dracula ass.
We're going to find him.
We're off to see in hell, the wonderful hell. I don't know. I didn't.
Sure.
Valiant effort.
I was trying to make a joke and it didn't work at all because words are hard.
Words are hard.
Yes, but maybe it's foreshadowing. I mean, what?
Maybe. I mean, we don't even know who this OC of mine is, apparently.
Anyway.
I'm so stresso espresso.
I know. Anyway, if you don't have Ellie, any final thoughts on your end?
This one goes out to one of Dracula's brides. She knows which one it is. I have been in love with no one and never shall, but it should be with you.
Huh. Interesting choice of words there. I have questions.
Yeah.
I legally cannot answer them.
Okay.
Fair enough. Who's got stuff to plug?
I'm Callie, and I'm the host of Postcards from Mystic Falls, a podcast where residents of Mystic Falls drag newcomers into the Vampire Diaries coven. We'll be starting with the Vampire Diaries and continuing with each of the 2 spin-offs. You can find Postcards on social media at Mystic Falls Pod in the link below, and you can find me on social media in my link tree below. And remember, it's Mystic Falls. Nothing bad ever happens here, right?
I am, as always, as far as you know, Ellie, host of The Biggest Night in Podcasting, where we watch an Oscar-winning film, randomly selected Oscar-winning film, and discuss it. I actually have Jasmine and Callie on our most recent episode, which will be going up in a couple weeks. It's a good one, on the picture of Dorian Gray. We got some good stuff coming up for you. And you can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42. On Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos with all the dashes. I'm trying to get some shit written for October, for spooky season. So keep an eye out.
And of course, yeah, because you know what? The pumpkin spice is already being sold. I'm giving in. It is officially spooky season.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Favor Vieira. You could also follow the show on Twitter at IER Podcast. And if you would like to help us reach the next chapter of our story, please consider leaving us a review or rating us on the podcatcher of your choice, telling all of your friends and family about us. And even better, if you have room in your wallets, please consider donating to our Patreon, our Ko-Fi page, or just the support the show link below. And now let's close out this week's Dracula Weekly. I tried to keep awake and succeeded for a while. When the clock struck 12, it waked me from a doze, so I must have been falling asleep. There was a sort of scratching or flapping at the window, but I did not mind it, and as I remember no more, I suppose I must have fallen asleep. More bad dreams. I wish I could remember them. This morning I am horribly weak. My face is ghastly pale, and my throat pains me. It must be something wrong with my lungs, for I don't seem to ever get air enough. I shall try to cheer up when Arthur comes, or else I know he'll be miserable to see me so.